Hello, my name is Lorna and today I'm going to take you through the process of monoprinting a Christmas card. Mono means that we will get one print from this type of craft activity as opposed to other print methods where you get multiple images. For monoprint, it's a fun one to do at home because you only need a small amount of equipment. You need a roller, which you can buy in an art shop, water-soluble ink, which can then be cleaned up by using washing up liquid at the end, and you can buy various ones of these. I would go for a small tube. You don't need an awful lot. I'd go for quality rather than quantity. You need to roll out your ink onto something like a glass plate. I use an old fridge shelf, but any glass or smooth plastic is suitable. It's a good idea to prepare your image beforehand using just a sketch pad. Think of simple images, trees, holly, etc., because you might want to trace those to make it easier when you come to your print. If you're going to use writing, it's a good idea to have it written out as well, because you're going to have to do it in reverse. This type of printing technique will make your image come out mirror image to anything you do. The other thing to make the area clean and tidy when you're working is to cut out a nice mask so that you can mask off the card shape. Good old cereal box is a good idea for that, a good way of recycling. You can use nice shop-bought card that's ready folded for you, makes life easy, or if you have plenty of good cartridge paper, just use cartridge paper that you have, drawing paper. Make your tracing, and then the other things you're going to need are anything you want for mark making, pencils, cotton buds are useful, knitting needles, and then masking tape to mask. So I'm going to clear my work area now, and I'm going to demonstrate to you how to start your print. Okay, to start with, you just squeeze a small amount about the size of your thumbnail onto the board. Get your roller and just start rolling the ink in an area just slightly larger than the card. And just keep going in all directions. Just to get a nice even coverage. If your ink is too thick, you won't get a very clear image, and if it's too thin again, it'll be too faint. So one or two test pieces at the start are quite often a good idea. I would always start by experimenting with a little bit of mark making. So you get your card, remembering you want to mask off your area, and I will stick that down. I've already got some masking tape ready and waiting. This just stops anything sliding about as you work on your print. Okay, now you can do two different things. You can remove the ink if you wish to, which will get you the reverse image, okay, or you can draw directly onto the ink through the card and that will pick up the ink. So I'll just do a wee demo of what it looks like. This is just a little mark making piece, so we'll just do a little leaf shape first of all. Like a little holly leaf. And then we're actually going to place the card down, remembering the position of the card also. The back of the card that you're not going to print on should be to the right hand side of the fold, and the drawing area is to the left hand side of the fold. Remember, everything is in reverse. Now if you're going to do the drawing through technique, you can use a pencil to see what your thickness is like. You can see what sort of a mark you're going to get using a knitting needle. You get finer points and thicker points. You can try dots, and you can see what happens when you rub your finger over the back. And when you're going to do the reverse one, which is the start where we took the ink away, you will need to transfer the ink onto the card by brazing across with something like a soup spoon. Soup spoon because it's nice and smooth and reasonably flat. And then you lift away and you'll see that's where I've brushed around to lift the ink, and that's where I've drawn through. You will always get a little bit of residual amount of ink coming off onto the card, which is why it's quite a nice random type of print. Now, in between prints, it's always important to re-ink the plate because you have the previous image already on. I'm going to put a little bit more black ink, not a lot, just a tiny squeeze. A little bit of ink goes a long, long way. And it's quite nice to use a little bit of blue in with the black. I quite like to roll that in. It just gives you another depth of colour. So again, re-rolling, and you'll see yourself on the plate where the image was, and you'll know to get it rolled out. Always remember to place your roller upside down so that it doesn't mark and make a mess. You try to keep the area as clean as possible. Try and keep your fingers away from the ink because you want to keep your card nice and clean. Okay, so again, getting your card, placing it down, and because this is one I'm going to do as a card rather than just a test piece, I'm going to use masking tape to secure it in one corner. And I'm going to get one of my images and do the little piece stuff. And you want to have it traced because you don't want to draw onto the back of the card directly. You just want to trace through the image. So we'll just start remembering where you started and work your way around. It's a type of fun print that you can experiment with. You could do an abstract background and then paint or draw on top. It doesn't have to be all print. Or if you're going to do something like a Christmas tree, you could add little sequins or glitter glue or diamante just to spruce it up a little bit. Best idea is to keep your image simple because the less pressure you put around the print area where you don't want the print to be picked up with ink, the better. Okay, so what we'll do is I'm just going to look at this gently, and I'd like to just cover a little bit of the print area just to give it a little bit of texture around the edge. And there you've got a little dove. If you want to do the other technique where we use the cotton bud to lift the ink away, again remembering to roll in between, get your nice clean re-rolled print area, and this technique is a bit more freehand. So I'm just going to get a couple of cotton buds. You need quite a few cotton buds when you're doing this technique because the ink lifts and floods the cotton bud and you want to make it nice and clean. So we'll just do a wee Christmas tree. Nice and simple. And if you're not very confident drawing, you could get some Christmas cookie cutters and use those to trace your outline around. Another piece of cotton bud. Do a little star on the top. And then pretend tinsel. And again, get your card, remembering, positioning. Your masked card is cut usually about ½ centimetre narrower than your actual card, and that gives you a little bit of a border. Now, do you remember with this particular type of print, you can use your hand up and down to transfer the ink as well. And the reason you use masking tape to fix it in place is you maybe just want to take a little peek to check that your image has done what you want it to, and it has. Okay, and we'll do one last little demonstration. Again, we'll go back to the drawing through the tracing. We'll add a little bit more blue ink to let you see. The basic pack that I have of inks, I've got one very good quality black. It is a multi-purpose printing ink. It's good for etching, block printing and for monoprint. But I also have a little pack of mixed colours, primaries, so you could mix the blue and the yellow to get a nice seasonal green. The red in this pack is more of a pink toned red, so you could add a little bit of yellow to give it a nice seasonal Christmassy red colour. Again, I can see more hints of the blue coming through, so this will make a nice little Rudolph, I think we'll do this time, a little reindeer image. Okay, so we've got that nice and clear. Get the card, position the card, masking tape. Rudolph, or a little reindeer that I drew out when I was planning these. I'm going to secure it at the top and the bottom, so I really don't want it sliding as I'm drawing it. And good old knitting needle. Just again, carefully tracing around the outline, making sure not to put pressure onto the card where you don't want it to pick up ink in any great depth. And just little antlers. And round that way. And again, it's quite nice just to try and create a little bit of texture or edging around the card. And again, I'm going to just gently lift it. And I've got texture on one side, and I'd like to get a little bit more texture on the other. So this is one reason why you want to tape it down, so that you've got your alignment always in the right place. And there we have our Rudolph. Okay, I hope you have got something from this, that you will enjoy doing the prints, and have a nice Christmas.